streaming live across the country, tackling the topics everyone is talking about online. Share, engage, and interact. This is Newsfeed Now.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us here on Newsfeed Now. I'm Suzanne Bruner, and for the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, we're going to talk about the top trending stories that we're seeing online this morning. We're going to start with an update on the COVID-19 pandemic. This morning, we've learned more than 250,000 people have died from the coronavirus. That's the latest number from the Associated Press. In the last 14 days, cases have gone up in all states and in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Guam. In a dozen states that include Minnesota, Ohio, and New York, infections have spiked in just the last 2 weeks. And that means there's been a 100% or more increase in confirmed cases over a 14-day span. As two large pharmaceutical companies get closer to rolling out a COVID-19 vaccine, state and local health departments are creating plans for distributing it. But these efforts could hit more roadblocks in rural communities where there are fewer health facilities and people. Washington correspondent Jesse Tenor reports.
At least 2 coronavirus vaccines are within arm's reach, but polls show some Americans are still skeptical about taking them.
Reassure folks that it's safe and they should come get it.
Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy hopes the rollout, starting with healthcare workers and nursing homes, makes everyone else more confident.
If your neighbor's a nurse in a rural hospital and you really have a high regard for her, I think it will make you feel more comfortable, the fact that 2 months later she's doing great.
Cassidy, a doctor himself, is working to help states reach underserved populations and solve storage and distribution problems in rural areas.
It's challenging because of the cold chain requirement for some of the vaccines, but we know it's possible.
Different vaccines require separate distribution plans, but Dr. Moncef Slaoui, the chief advisor for the Trump administration's Operation Warp Speed, says agreements with CVS and Walgreens will help rural areas.
These vaccines will be available there.
There are also concerns about how the controversial transition of power from the Trump White House to a Biden administration could impact vaccine distribution.
More people may die if we don't coordinate.
President-elect Joe Biden continued to pressure the Trump administration this week to share its plan.
It puts us behind.
But Cassidy argues the vaccine companies have their own distribution strategies.
No matter who the president is, this is going to go forward.
With the first rollout possibly just weeks away. In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
And we have Jesse joining us now from the nation's capital to talk more about this story. Jesse, great to have you here with us on Newsfeed Now. So, of course, we've been talking about this plan that's currently in place when it comes to who will be among the first to receive a vaccination when one does become available. But for people who won't be the first, what do they need to know about receiving a vaccination?
A lot of those plans are still underway just because a vaccine hasn't been officially put on the market yet. And so those two companies, Moderna and Pfizer, that have been developing vaccines quickly, they're in those final stages. Pfizer did say even yesterday that it's going to be applying for that emergency use authorization with the FDA just within a matter of days. And so these efforts are really ramping up. But right now, states are still grappling with what these plans could look like, just because the vaccines right now are different. With the Pfizer vaccine, the first one that was announced, there's some storage issues where it has to be ultra cold. Right. And the Moderna vaccine, though, has a little bit better of a storage component there. And so states are really still having to weigh a lot of that.
Yeah, can we talk more about that storage component? Because this is where people living in rural areas are a little bit concerned about how they could potentially get access to a vaccination. So can you talk more about how these vaccinations need to be stored?
Sure. So starting with the Pfizer one, since that was the first one announced, when we say ultra cold temperatures, that means that even in the shipment of these vaccines, they need to be very cold or even stored on dry ice, not a typical refrigerator temperature of about 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Whereas the Moderna vaccine can be stored at those regular temperatures. And so when you're talking about rural areas, you have to think about what infrastructure is available to them. Would they be able to store a vaccine like Pfizer's at those ultra cold temperatures and then be able to distribute them quickly? Since they did say that they would be distributing them in about 1,000 to about 5,000 doses, but then you would have to distribute them within a matter of days. And so, are there enough people to even do that? Is there enough interest too? That's going to be a big issue moving forward, as well as confidence in the vaccine.
And do you think that it all boils down to the state's decision and the local city decision as well?
That's definitely what we're hearing a lot about in the halls of Congress and from the White House is, of course, what we've been hearing really since the beginning of the pandemic is, the federal government is only going to do so much, but it's really going to leave a lot to the states. Since the virus has been impacting states, even though it's been surging a lot, it still impacts states differently across the country. And so, that's why states now are coming up with various contingency plans depending on the vaccine and also depending on the different areas that their state has and different ways to put out information. So I know that a lot, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy was in my story. He's working with medical schools in his state. He's working with different community leaders, working with the National Institutes of Health. That's, of course, that national organization. And so there's definitely a lot of different talks being had of how can we make sure that we get this to every single American, no matter, where they live.
All right, Jesse, thanks so much for bringing us up to speed on this. And of course, we have many of you who are tuning in from various states, so definitely keep tabs on some of those decisions that your state is making as soon as these vaccinations do become available. And we'll continue to follow that here on Newsfeed Now as well. No doubt many people have scaled back on a lot this year. Turns out more people are spending, especially on splurge items and experiences. So the global luxury goods market is down 23% this year, contracting for the first time since 2009. Looks like the pandemic has also paused international travel, and people who used to spend money on vacation, well, they're cashing in locally or even online. Personal luxury goods sales are down, especially watches and apparel, with a sharp decline in formal wear. Bain & Company predicts the luxury industry will recover by 2022. And let's take a look at American Airlines and British Airways. It looks like these two are putting on a coronavirus trial. Here's how it's going to work. Passengers would take 3 free COVID-19 tests, one before they leave, one when they land, and one 3 days after they get to where they're going. Both airlines want to do this to convince governments that testing can restart travel and also remove the need for passengers to quarantine. This is all going to kick off next week. From the air to the sea, cruise businesses are under another delay here. Carnival canceled cruises in the U.S. through the end of January. It's still working with the CDC on resuming sailings. 7 locations across the country have even been suspended through the end of February. Also, Carnival Legend cruises from Tampa, it's not going to run until after later March. Carnival says it's working on a phased-in approach to bringing back cruises. Taking a look at some other health news today. So there's new research that has found older women who live in more highly polluted areas may have an increased risk of dementia. Over the course of 5 years, researchers followed more than 700 elderly women with no history of cognitive problems. Turns out women living in places with higher levels of fine particle pollution had more shrinkage in areas of the brain that are vulnerable to Alzheimer's disease. Turning now to some news in the Midwest. An Illinois mom will become one of the oldest women in the country to give birth. But having a baby at 62 years old brings up ethical issues. Mandy Murphy reports why her doctor urges women shouldn't be treated differently than men when it comes to having a baby.
One vampire. Most people John and Kathy Blantner's age would be thinking about retirement and slowing down. Not this Waterloo, Illinois dentist and his wife. John is 66. Kathy is 62 and pregnant.
I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 62 and have a baby. I'm thinking, how wonderful, I get to have a baby and I'm 62.
They also have a 12-year-old son and a 2-year-old toddler. In April, Kathy will become one of the oldest women to ever give birth in the United States.
Do you have the energy for this?
Well, I get up every day and I try to have a great day.
Kathy was 40 when she and John got married.
Met the love of my life, and she wants to have children, and I want to be supportive.
They said that your eggs are no longer capable of supporting life. And so that was a bit of a blow.
But where there's a will, there's a way. Kathy got pregnant through in vitro fertilization at age 50. She used donated eggs from her niece combined with her husband John's sperm. Her son Johnny is now 12.
You have one and then you start, well, how wonderful it is. I want another one. It took 10 years of more struggles.
Kathy was almost 60. She reached out to numerous infertility doctors.
What did they say?
A lot of them said no. We won't treat you.
Why?
Because of your age.
Most doctors follow the ethical guidelines set by the American Society for Reproductive Medicine. It says women over 55 years old shouldn't get pregnant because of the risks to their health and their longevity. Guidelines say there is a greater likelihood that one or both of the parents could die before the child is an adult. Then Kathy turned to Dr. Sherman Silber at St. Luke's Hospital.
The first reaction will be, are you crazy?
But after months of consideration, Dr. Silber decided Kathy had every right to give birth again.
Older women, on average, tend to have more competent, more intelligent babies. And that's because they're focused on the baby in the early years of life when everything happens.
Dr. Silber felt Kathy was in excellent health and had a family support system.
Does a 59 or 61-year-old woman deserve to have a baby? Well, no one asked that about 90-year-old guys, or when Strom Thurmond, the senator in the U.S. Senate, had a baby at age 81.
Age wasn't the only unusual part to this story. This time, Kathy would get pregnant from eggs donated by her own daughter, combined with her husband John's sperm. Her older daughter, Sarah, is from a first marriage and shares no DNA with John. And thanks to her daughter, Kathy was able to give birth to Charles 2 years ago at 60 years old.
She carried him. She is the mother. I don't feel any genetic connection other than I'm a sister.
Now Kathy is pregnant again, all because of her daughter Sarah's eggs. And another unusual twist, Sarah is also expecting. Both will deliver around the same time, and both are having girls.
It's like father of the bride. We always talk about that.
Sarah, who is married with her own children, plans to care for her siblings when her parents no longer can.
What do you say to people who say it's crazy to have a baby at 62 years old?
I say that's okay. If that's their belief, that's absolutely okay. But that's not okay to put that on me. I think if I'm okay with how they believe, they can be okay with how I believe.
And we have Aprilette Russell joining us now from St. Louis to talk more about this story. Wow, that's just incredible how it ended there. Wasn't expecting her daughter to also be pregnant at the same time. But Aprilette, we saw that it wasn't until the couple actually found a certain doctor who eventually said, yes, we can do this. What do we know about Dr. Silber?
He is definitely an angel to couples who want to become parents. People fly all across the world for him here in St. Louis to do treatment. And I will say that he is known for cutting edge infertility new developments. He actually developed a technique for ovarian tissue removal. And he's also known for sperm retrieval in men who supposedly don't have any sperm.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. So as you just saw as well, we've seen a lot of twists and turns to this story. What would you say was the most surprising to you?
To be honest, it's just the love. A lot of women tend to get married younger, and to look at Kathy and her husband, she found love at 40. She got married, and now look at her. She's 62, expecting again, and extremely happy.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think sticks out as well. It's really interesting because, you know, in today's generation, a lot more women and men, they're waiting to get married and even waiting to have kids. So congratulations to the couple there, expecting another child right there. Thanks so much, Aprilette, for bringing us that story. Commencements are in full swing at Grambling State University. Isabel Albritton talked with one non-traditional student about her journey to graduation day.
Tyra Muhammad started her college career in 1993. At 19, she got married and started a family. Soon after, she got sick and couldn't attend as many classes.
I moved to New Orleans. There, I went to nursing school. was the CNA program, Certified Nursing Assistant.
After a couple moves, she had her second child. Her husband went back to school and she decided to put her family first.
Every time I thought about coming back, I kind of put it off because I wanted to make sure my family was taken care of. I'm a mother of 5, so I wanted to take care of my husband at that time, my children.
After she and her husband divorced, she decided it was time to finish what she started all those years ago. At 44, she returned to Grambling State University to complete her bachelor's degree.
So I've been back every semester. I've either been on the president's list or the dean's list. So that was an accomplishment for me.
Muhammad said she even had a chance to attend school with 2 of her children.
And I actually talked to them. I said, "Are you going to be uncomfortable with me on campus with you?" And they were like, no. So they were really excited. We did a lot of things here on campus together. So a lot of people on campus know the Muhammad family.
Now at 46, she has 1 daughter who graduated from Grambling back in May, and this week she and her son will graduate together.
I'm proud of myself because, like I was able to maintain an A average throughout the time that I've been back, and that in itself is a huge accomplishment for me. And I like that as an example for my children.
All right, that is awesome. We're so glad to have Isabel joining us now from Monroe to talk more about this story. Wow, that is really cool. You know, she asked her kids, is it okay? Like for a parent to ask their kids if it's okay if I go to school, but they were just so welcoming of it. I mean, how much did it mean to her to be able to do this with her kids?
You know, whenever I spoke with her, she told me the one thing that she was a little bit concerned about was, you know, going to the same school as her kids. You know, a lot of kids wouldn't really be okay with having their parents on campus. You know, they're just now leaving the nest. And her kids were just very welcoming about it. You know, she says that, you know, the school knew them as, you know, the Muhammad family. And for her, it was just an example for her kids. She did graduate with honors with a 4.0, and she just, you know, led that example for her kids and showed them that, you know, it doesn't matter when you get it done, as long as you get it done, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, definitely an inspirational story. What motivated her to go back?
You know, she said it was her kids. Once she had her divorce, it was her kids that, you know, she stopped going to school for so that she had a chance to take care of them. And she said once they got old enough, she decided, you know what, they're going to school, I'm going to go to school, and we're just going to do this together.
So did she go back to a CNA program? What did she graduate? What was her degree in, and what's next for her?
And she says she graduated with a bachelor's in English and she minored in Spanish, but she is planning on going back to school. The journey of her college career is not over. She's planning on going to graduate school at Grambling State with her daughter.
Good for her. That's amazing. So what's her message for others who think that, you know what, I don't have time to go to school. It's past my time. They keep putting it off.
You know, the one thing that she emphasized on was that it's never too late to invest in yourself and go back to school. And I think that's the point that she wanted to get across with her story is, you know, there are so many people who are trying to decide, you know, should I go back to school? Is it too late for me? And she just wants everybody to know it's not too late, and you should always make time to invest in yourself.
I love it. The message we need to hear today. Thanks so much, Isabel, for bringing us that story. All right, actor Kevin Costner, he's going to soon have a footprint in Arkansas. Costner is actually working with a museum director and a developer over in Hot Springs to open his own legacy museum. His partners in the project say he loves the Spa City, he loves its atmosphere. His museum will be in downtown Hot Springs, and it's going to feature props from his biggest movies. There's no official opening date set for the museum. They started work on it before the pandemic, but as most things, it's slowed down. So if you build it, I think he expects that people will come, right? Hey, remember this movie, Wonder Woman 1984? Yeah, this was supposed to be released back in June 5th, that is, but it was rescheduled a number of times because of the coronavirus pandemic. Well, it looks like we have an official date for the new film. Warner Brothers announced Wonder Woman 1984 will debut on HBO Max Christmas Day, so check it out if you can. I love this next story here. A dog can be a boy's best friend. A dog can also be a mailman's worst nightmare. But for a boy in Sherwood, Arkansas, watching his postal carrier give his playful pup hugs and kisses one day, this led to a bond over a different type of X's and O's. Cassandra Webb has a story.
Spradlin, the last several months have been a bummer.
It's not easy living in a pandemic. I couldn't see my friend. He lives all the way in Jacksonville, and usually I was looking forward to the summer because we would spend time, and then we couldn't.
With all that time at home, loneliness crept in.
It's like, why could this happen to us?
But Bryson and his mom had good company through quarantine. Their sheepdog, Charlie.
There we go. You're such a good boy.
Charlie has a puppy's heart. Gets into mischief, especially with his favorite mailman, Terry.
I just dropped off a package and here he comes.
One day, Charlie jumped into Terry's mail truck.
You know, dogs have a sense about people, and he had no trouble jumping up in here, and I was wondering if he's going to leave or not.
But Terry didn't get mad.
And then he just gave him hugs and kisses and stuff.
Up to that point, Bryson and Terry's only connection was just a wayward sheepdog. That is, until one day on Terry's route.
Well, I opened the box, and there is a tic-tac-toe board taped to the inside.
Bryson's creative idea, a bold move. After all, it is a game meant for two.
I was like, he actually responded.
Next thing you know, we're playing tic-tac-toe. How cool is this?
The 3 games they played went back and forth for weeks. The score, Bryson 2 and 1 draw.
We need to look at the tape.
Strangers do need their space in the pandemic. But strangers also need each other sometimes too.
I've won 2 games.
Well, I have to go with the customer's always right. Even though it takes you 2 seconds to write a O on there and move on, it's fun thinking that, hey, somebody wants to talk to me out here.
It's because I finally get to do something with other people.
It's a simple story about a boy, his dog, a mailman, and a game as old as time. But more than that.
Have fun with people, you know. Why do you want to ignore someone?
He made me happy by doing this, and I appreciate it.
It's a lesson in community. While all of us are Xing out our plans, one small circle is drawing together an unlikely friendship.
Thank you so much.
To know that I did something to make a child's day happier makes my day happier.
It's proof that in lonely times, if you're the person brave enough to go first, a friend just may deliver.
Cassandra Webb joining us from Little Rock now. Cassandra, I absolutely love this story. It just puts a smile to my face. Had Bryson not done that, who would have thought it would have led to this friendship? I mean, it's just incredible, especially in the time that we're in right now.
It really is. And my favorite part about this story is how simple it is, right? And we even call that out in the story. It's a simple story. You have a boy, a dog, and a mailman, but this has moved a lot of people in the local area just in knowing that just a little simple act like this can forge a friendship. And these two, they were strangers, really. The only thing that they had in common was that dog.
Isn't it amazing, like the impact a dog, like man's best friend, can have on just sparking up a conversation as well?
Right, exactly. And Charlie is the sweetest sheepdog. I think they said he's like 4, but he still acts much like a puppy. And Terry, the mail carrier, was just the kindest soul. And so you put all them together, and it's just a really heartwarming story.
Yeah, no, it really is. Terry, has he won a game?
Now, he will say he has. Like you saw, he said we have to look at the tape. He disputes Bryson's claim, but we're just going to go ahead and give Bryson the credit so far.
Hey, the customer always wins, like he says. I don't know how long Terry has been, delivering mail, or especially in that area, but would you say that this is probably one of his most memorable experiences in his career?
Sure. He's been with the Postal Service for decades. He's been on this particular route, I think he said about 6 years. And he just has a really good reputation in the neighborhood. When Mom put out this Facebook post, she didn't say who it was, but everybody had a hunch that it was Terry, and they were right. yeah, it was definitely a highlight for his day as well.
It really is. Cassandra, great story. Thanks for bringing that to us. We
Thank you.
appreciate your time.
Sure.
All right, well, Barbie is coming out with some new dolls for the holidays. The Barbie Extra dolls are using a more is more approach to the new line. This is what they look like. They have tons of colorful outfits to mix and match with, and even pets to accompany them. The Barbie Extra dolls will be in stores for $25. Several officially amazing individuals broke Guinness World Records ahead of the Guinness World Records Day 2020. This was yesterday. A roller skater from London managed most cartwheels on roller skates in 1 minute with 3, and then the most spins on e-skates in 1 minute with 70. And then in Japan, 2 people completed the most alternate skips by a pair in 30 seconds with 1 rope with 71 skips. And then look at this one. A magician in England achieved the Guinness World Record title for the most magic tricks underwater in 3 minutes with 20 tricks. Can't wait to see what happens next year. Hey, before we let you go, you got to look at this. If you love pizza, you like getting cozy on the couch, you're going to love what I'm about to tell you, because Pizza Hut has teamed up with Gravity Blanket to make a weighted blanket that looks like your favorite kind of pizza. The original pan pizza blanket is what it's called. It's designed to relax your nervous system, probably make you hungry too. Gravity Blanket says their blankets allow people to get deeper sleep to improve well-being. It weighs 15 pounds. You can be covered up by a pizza for $150. I wonder if you can pick your own toppings for that. If that's the case, I'll take the Supreme. Well, that's a look at the top trending stories of this morning. We're going to do it again tomorrow, 10:30 Central Time, right here on this website. We'll see you on a Finally Friday.